How well you burn fat while you sleep determines 41% of your total weight gain over the next 5 years. That means protecting your nighttime fat burning window is arguably more important than any single thing you do during the day. But most people still shut it down every evening without even realizing. I've helped tens of thousands of people through fat loss challenges, and the ones who fix their nighttime routine always see the results the fastest, because better sleep and faster fat loss run on the exact same hormonal track. So I'm going to show you the top 9 habits that you need to follow every night for amazing sleep and better fat loss, including what to do, what to avoid, and how to make it simple enough to stick with it starting tonight. First, let's set your body up for overnight fat loss before your evening routine even begins. There was a 12-month weight loss study where they tracked a group of people who were all trying to lose weight. Everyone was cutting calories, everyone was motivated, and at the end of the year, they looked at who actually lost the most fat. Many people barely lost anything, but the top group, they lost 28 pounds, and 78% of it was pure fat. So the question is, what were those people doing differently? It wasn't a special workout, it wasn't a supplement, it simply came down to what was on their plate. And it turned out that the people who lost the most fat were the ones eating the most protein and fiber. When you pair those two together, that's when the real magic happens for overnight fat burn. It works because protein helps keep you full, preventing you from raiding the pantry again at 9 p.m. And fiber slows down how quickly your body digests the meal, and that means that your blood sugar stays more stable, which keeps insulin low. And as most of you know, when insulin is high, your body stores fat instead of burning it. Now, what does this actually look like on a plate? You're aiming for about 30 to 40 grams of protein at dinner and at least 10 grams of fiber. 30 grams of protein is roughly a palm-sized chicken breast or salmon fillet or ground turkey, about 4 to 5 ounces cooked. If you're doing lentils or beans as your protein source, it's about a cup and a half. As for fiber, a cup of broccoli has about 5 grams, a cup of Brussels sprouts has about 4, and a cup of black beans has around 15 all by itself. So a real-life dinner might be a piece of grilled chicken with a big serving of roasted broccoli and a side of black beans, or a salmon fillet with sauteed spinach and some quinoa, or ground turkey over a bed of mixed vegetables with lentils. The point is, you want to see protein and vegetables making up most of the plate. And if there's a starch like rice or potatoes or bread or pasta, that should make up the smallest portion. Now, one more tip here that most people miss: the order that you eat the food actually matters. When people eat their protein and vegetables first and then save the starches for last, their blood sugar spike after the meal drops by as much as 44%. So if you're having rice or potatoes with your dinner, eat your protein and veggies first and then finish with the starch. That one small change makes a big difference in whether your body burns fat or stores it as you sleep. Now, in case it's not already obvious, once dinner's done, your kitchen should close. So this is point number 2. No snacks, just a handful of something, no healthy granola bar. You want at least a 3-hour gap between your last bite of food and the time you go to sleep. So if you go to bed at 10, kitchen's closed at 7. The best trick we found is to physically clean up the kitchen after dinner, put everything away, we turn off the lights in the kitchen, and then if you really want to lock it in, brush your teeth early. That sends a psychological signal that eating is done for the day. Then if you genuinely get hungry before bed and you need something, make it a small amount of protein or fat, but then you have to brush your teeth again. A couple slices of turkey, a hard-boiled egg, a small piece of cheese, those won't spike your insulin the way a bowl of cereal or a piece of fruit will. And one more thing, caffeine has a half-life of 5 to 6 hours. That means if you drink coffee at 3 p.m., half of the caffeine is still circulating in your body at 9 p.m. It's going to suppress your melatonin, and it's going to delay deep sleep where most of your overnight fat burning happens. So cut all the caffeine by 2 p.m. at the latest. And if you're sensitive to it, or just what I like to put into practice, noon is even better. All right, habit 3. Next is, how do you make sure that your blood sugar from dinner comes down as fast as possible before bedtime? After you eat, your blood sugar rises. That's normal. But for most people, it rises and it just sits there because they go straight from the dinner table to the couch. And as long as that blood sugar is elevated, insulin stays elevated and your fat cells stay locked. But there's one thing that pulls it down faster than anything else, and it takes almost no effort. I'm talking about a 15 to 20 minute walk. That's it. Just a regular walk at whatever pace feels comfortable. Research shows it can pull your blood sugar down by as much as 30%. It works because your muscles act like a sponge for sugar, and even doing something as low intensity as walking gets them to start soaking up the sugar that's in the blood. That way, by the time you're winding down for bed, your fat cells are already unlocked and ready to release stored fat. The timing is the part that matters the most here. You want to start that walk within 15 to 30 minutes of finishing dinner, before your blood sugar hits its peak. If you wait an hour to go for a walk, the spike has already happened and you've missed most of the benefit. Now, in addition to bringing down your blood sugar, walking after dinner helps you get better sleep. That's because walking outside as the daylight is fading sends a signal to your brain that the day is ending. It reinforces your body's natural rhythm for melatonin release, which helps you fall asleep faster and sleep deeper. So you're getting a blood sugar benefit and a sleep benefit at the same time. Next, number 4, most people fail with their sleep because of something that they're doing 60 to 90 minutes before bed they don't even think twice about. Before electricity existed, the only signal your brain had that night arrived was darkness. That darkness triggered a gland in your brain called the pineal gland to release melatonin. And melatonin is what puts you into the deep sleep where your body burns the most fat overnight. But there's something in almost every room of your house that's mimicking sunlight and telling your brain that it's still in the middle of the afternoon. Phone, your TV, your tablet, LED bulbs in your room, they all emit blue light, the exact wavelength that your pineal gland is most sensitive to. When that blue light hits your eyes at 9 p.m., your brain gets one message: the sun is still up. And when your brain thinks the sun is still up, it doesn't release melatonin, which means you don't enter deep sleep. And without deep sleep, your body does not burn fat efficiently overnight. One study found that just 3 hours of light exposure in the evening suppressed melatonin by up to 50%. So set a rule: 60 to 90 minutes before bed, all screens go off. If you absolutely need to use a screen, maybe you're just finishing something up for work, get a pair of amber or orange tinted blue lighted glasses. The heavy duty ones that block 85% or more of blue light. The world will look a little orange through them, but that's how you know that they're working. The other thing to consider is swapping your bedroom and bathroom light bulbs to red or deep amber for the evening hours. Red light does not suppress melatonin at night, so it's something to consider. It's probably one of the single highest leverage changes that you can make in your home, your environment. But if you don't want to go to the extent of changing the light bulbs, try to leave the lights off, keep the TVs off, keep the screens off. The next step is going to sound counterintuitive, but it's one of the most well-studied sleep tools in the research. Your body's signal to fall asleep isn't relaxation, it's a drop in core temperature. When your core temperature falls, your brain reads that as a cue to release melatonin and initiate deep sleep. And there's a way to force that temperature drop to happen faster than it normally would, so that you fall asleep quicker and then you spend more time in deep sleep stages where fat burning peaks. What am I talking about? A warm shower or a warm bath about 90 minutes before bed. More than 15 different studies show that this one habit can help you fall asleep 36% faster. I know cold plunges and cold showers are a trendy thing right now, but a cold shower at night is one of the worst things you can do for sleep. Cold water activates your stress response, the same system that locks your fat cells and floods your body with cortisol. That's great at 7 a.m. when you want to wake up, but it's a terrible thing at 9 p.m. when you're trying to wind down and get into fat burning mode. On the other hand, when you take a warm shower, the heat forces blood out to the surface of your skin and down to your hands and feet. So when you step out of the shower, you dump heat rapidly and your core temperature drops faster than it would have on its own, triggering deep sleep. The ideal water temperature is 104 to 108 degrees, comfortably warm, not scalding, and you want to stay in for about 10 to 15 minutes so that your body has time to bring that blood to the surface. Now, if you want to take this a step further, try Epsom salt in the bath instead of a shower. Add about 2 cups of Epsom salt to a standard bathtub of warm water and soak for that same 10 to 15 minutes. The salt delivers about 2 to 400 milligrams of magnesium directly through the skin. It's significant because 80% of Americans are deficient in magnesium, and magnesium is one of the nutrients that your body needs most for deep sleep and for keeping cortisol in check overnight. Absorbing it through the skin bypasses the digestive system entirely, so you get better absorption and less chance of stomach issues. Just one thing to watch: make sure the timing is right. 90 minutes before bed is the sweet spot for this bath or shower. If you take a hot shower right before you lie down, your body hasn't had time to complete the cool down cycle, and you might actually have a harder time falling asleep. That leads us to the part most people completely overlook for number 6, how to actually shut your body off at night so that it can switch into fat burning mode. Most people carry the stress of their entire day straight into bed. The work emails, the bills, the argument you had, the thing you forgot to do. Your mind might stop thinking about it, but your body just doesn't turn that off. Your body has two modes. It's either in stress mode or recovery mode. The stress side is called the sympathetic nervous system. When it's running, cortisol goes up, fat gets stored. Your body is in survival mode. The recovery side is called the parasympathetic nervous system. When that's running, cortisol drops. Your body repairs itself and fat gets burnt. Here's the critical thing. They cannot run at the same time. So as long as your stress system is still going when you go to bed, your body is physically unable to burn fat. And if you're someone who lies in bed with your mind racing, or you wake up in the middle of the night and you can't fall back asleep, that's a sign that your stress system is still running when it should be off. So how do you manually flip that switch before bed? There's a combination that does it in about 5 to 10 minutes. And it's something you can do right in your bedroom without any equipment. One of those things is gentle stretching. I recommend doing it in your bedroom with the lights dimmed or off. That way your brain starts associating the stretch routine with sleep, which makes it more effective over time. A child's pose for 60 seconds, a seated forward fold, trying to touch your toes for 60 seconds, lying on your back with your knees falling open for a minute or two, legs up on the wall for 2 to 3 minutes. If you can only do one, do legs up on the wall. Lying with your legs elevated above your heart slows your heart rate and activates the vagus nerve, which is the main nerve that triggers the parasympathetic response. You'll feel the shift within a couple of minutes. The key is to hold each stretch for at least 45 seconds to a full minute. Short, quick stretches don't give your nervous system enough time to register the signal. And while you're holding those stretches, breathe slowly through your nose, in for a 4 to 5 count, out through the mouth for a 5 to 6 count. The extended exhale is what actually stimulates the vagus nerve and brings cortisol down. It's the fastest manual override that you have to shut down the stress response before bed. Next, I'm going to show you a simple bedtime drink that activates one of your body's most powerful fat-burning enzymes. Your body has an enzyme called AMPK, which is basically the switch that tells your body to stop storing fat and start burning. And that's exactly what you want happening as you head into your overnight fasting window. There's a simple drink that you can make in about 30 seconds and it flips that switch. I call it Insulin Hack. Here's how you make it. About 30 minutes before bed, mix 1 tablespoon of raw unfiltered apple cider vinegar, ACV, into 8 ounces of warm water and stir in a half a teaspoon of cinnamon. Note that the cinnamon isn't just for flavor, although it does help. It improves insulin sensitivity and it slows carbohydrate digestion, which means it keeps your blood sugar more stable through the night. One of the most common reasons people wake up at 2 or 3 a.m. is a blood sugar crash that triggers a cortisol spike. So stable blood sugar through the night means uninterrupted sleep, which means more time in the deep sleep stages or fat burning peaks. Now, when making this drink, there are a few things to get right here. First, always dilute apple cider vinegar. Never drink it straight. It's very acidic. It can burn your esophagus. It can damage your tooth enamel, so dilute it. Second, drink it through a straw if you can to minimize contact with your teeth, or at least rinse your mouth with plain water after you drink it. Also, don't brush your teeth for about 30 minutes after drinking this because the acid temporarily softens the enamel, and then brushing right away can cause erosion. Third, and this is the one most people miss, make sure your cinnamon is Ceylon cinnamon, not Acacia. Acacia is what you'll find in most grocery stores. It contains a higher level of a compound called coumarin, which can be harder on the liver when it's used daily or used frequently. And the reason acacia is everywhere is because it's cheaper to produce. So that's what food companies typically use. But the Ceylon cinnamon is low in coumarin and it's safer for everyday use. So it wins out as a slightly preferred version. It'll usually say Ceylon on the label, and it's easy to find at any health food store or anywhere online. Fourth, make sure you get the kind of ACV that still has the mother in it. That's the cloudy, stringy stuff that you can literally see through the glass bottle on the bottom of the bottle. It's created during the fermentation process. That's the purest, least processed form for this extra power for fat loss with good bacteria probiotics. So enjoy that drink. Now let's go to number 8, where we get something that can increase fat burning while you sleep without changing your diet or doing anything else. Your body has a type of fat called brown fat, which is completely different from the fat that you're trying to lose. It doesn't store energy energy, it burns it. Brown fat generates heat by burning calories from your regular fat stores. And most people have it sitting around in their neck area or their upper chest doing almost nothing because it's never been active. In order to get it working for you while you sleep, all you need to do is turn down the temperature. That's it. Before you get into bed, set your thermostat to 65 or 66 degrees. That'll not only activate your brown fat, but also help you fall asleep faster by dropping your core body temperature. Plus, it helps your body spend more time in deep sleep stages where growth hormone surges and fat oxidation peaks. And while the room is getting cold, that's the perfect time to take the final step in your routine. Most people don't realize that there are 2 nutrients that your body needs to actually get into deep fat burning sleep. Most Americans are deficient in both of them. The first is magnesium. 80% of Americans are deficient in magnesium. And if you're thinking, I take a multivitamin, I'm probably fine. You're almost certainly not. Most multivitamins use cheap forms of magnesium, which your body can barely absorb. But the form to impact your sleep the most is a magnesium glycinate, the amino acid chelated to magnesium. You want 300 to 400 milligrams of it. And it's an important distinction because when you look at a supplement label, it says 1,000 milligrams of magnesium glycinate on the front. When you flip it over and you read the supplement fact panel, you'll see that the actual amount of elemental magnesium is maybe only 100 or 150 milligrams per capsule. Elemental magnesium is the only number that you're counting towards when you're trying to get to that 300 to 400 range to really impact sleep. Now, why magnesium glycinate? It's the form that's best absorbed and gentlest on the stomach. It also has the most research linked to increasing deep sleep and lowering overnight cortisol. So you want to make sure that the label says chelated magnesium. Non-chelated forms have less of an absorption. So if you want the magnesium to actually work, you want a chelated form of magnesium. Your body does need multiple types of magnesium. The one I created has 7 different forms, including the amino acid glycinate attached to the magnesium. I wouldn't take it on an empty stomach, especially at higher doses, because it can cause a little nausea, but maybe take it right after your apple cider vinegar drink or right at the end of your dinner. The second half of that equation there is 1, getting proper amounts of magnesium. 2 is the glycine. It's a very important amino acid that can reach your brain. It lowers your core body temperature from the inside out, which we know helps you fall asleep faster. But it also increases time in deep sleep mode and reduces fatigue the next day. Glycine you can get in collagen protein powders or as a powder by itself. I make it in a capsule form as far as a GI supporting supplement, and it usually easily dissolves in water. It's a little bit sweet on its own. You could mix some into the apple cider vinegar drink if you wanted to combine a couple of steps. But traditional cultures all over the world, from Japanese bone broth to Mexican dishes that are slow cooked animal parts, are loaded with connective tissue, and that's extremely rich with glycine. Modern diets have completely moved away from those type of food, which leaves us more deficient in glycine. So just like with magnesium, supplementing with glycine isn't about adding something unnatural. It's actually getting back to what the human body was always getting before we changed the way that we eat. So some nighttime bone broth might be a good option to get some extra glycine in, or consider supplementing with it, or use magnesium glycinate, the amino acid chelated form, to help support that deeper sleep and lower your body temperature. There's the 9. This bedtime routine protects your fat burning window at night. But what you do in the first 60 minutes after you wake up determines whether that fat burning keeps on going or gets shut down before breakfast. There's a specific morning routine that picks up right where this one leaves off, keeps your metabolism elevated, your blood sugar stable, and your cortisol in check for the rest of the day. I've laid out the entire step-by-step in my other video, Copy My Morning Routine to Drop 20 Pounds in 30 Days. I'll include a link to that here. Click to watch it next, and I'll see you there.